Navigate on autopilot. How does it work? Does it work well? What does Mad Max mode really mean? Stay tuned. Hi everyone, Joy here. Welcome back to my channel. This past week, I received the 42.3 update that included Navigate on Autopilot, and I wanted to share my experience with all of you on how to turn it on, how it works, and I've also discovered what Mad Max mode really means, and it is not what I and probably some of you thought that it was. Before I share the footage, as a reminder to please go ahead and subscribe to my channel down here if you haven't already done so. And if you're looking to purchase a new Tesla, use my referral link down below or the code below so you can get yourself some supercharging credit. This morning when I went to church, I got to try out Navigate on Autopilot for the very first time. And I really didn't know what to expect and how it might work. I'm going to share the footage with you and sort of show you my own learning process on how to make this work and see how well this is working. And also the round trip back driving on Nav on Autopilot for the second time, and some of the things that became clear to me and how I'm able to now better understand the Mad Max mode, the average mode, the mild mode that Nav on Autopilot offers. So enjoy the clips. I got the latest 42.3 update after I picked it up from the service center. And in this update, we have the long-awaited Navigate on Autopilot. And your car now supports key fobs, which is available for purchase from Tesla if you choose to have that. Regen braking. The force has been increased to improve the driving experience and increase how much energy is actively returned to the battery when slowing down. That's very nice. Now let's set up Navigate on Autopilot. You would go to this car icon, go over to Autopilot, and Navigate on Autopilot Beta, enable it. And you can only do this while your car is parked, just so that you know. Navigate on Autopilot does not make your Model 3 autonomous. Keep that in mind. You still need to be alert and be aware and have your hands on the wheels in case you need to take over. So I will go ahead and agree to this and say yes. And then customize Navigate on Autopilot. And here we go. Speed-based lane changes, Mad Max mode. I need this while driving here in LA because people won't let you through unless you cut into it very quickly as soon as you signal. So this is a little explanation on speed-based lane changes. When enabled, Navigate on Autopilot will suggest lane changes into faster moving lanes in the event that your Model 3 is traveling slower than your desired set speed. The mild setting suggests lane changes when you're traveling significantly slower than your set speed, whereas the Mad Max setting will suggest lane changes even when traveling only slightly slower than your set speed. Changing this setting does not affect the safety of the lane change. So that's what the Mad Max mode really means. Right now, and it did suggest a couple of lane changes when my lane was slowing down. The car in front of me was slowing down, and at one time it asked me to do a lane change, but there was a car to the left. So when I click on this turn signal, the line turned solid red, and it would not change until my car slowed down and that car sped up, and then I was able to make that lane change. So yes, the safety feature of the lane change for the auto steering is still in effect. Another thing I wanted to test is that my car has been leaning left while on autopilot and auto steering. So I wanted to see if this latest 42.3 version is correcting that positioning of the car. And so far it seems to be doing a pretty good job, especially when I encounter little curves coming up like this one. So this one, let's see how it goes. Yeah, it's still kind of lean toward the left a little bit more than I would have liked, but it is a little bit better from what I had before. I purposely got out of the HOV lane because there was no car in front of me and come to the regular lane. And so now it's telling me to make a lane change. And so I'm signaling. There's actually a car next to me, and it did not make that lane change because it detected that car next to me and it canceled the lane change confirmation. I am about 2 miles out from my off ramp, so I'm going to start heading over. So I press on the signal and it just changed the lane as normal. And I will do another lane change because it asked me to do that lane change because it knows that I'm almost there. So I will do another one. It says confirm lane change to follow the route. Me to go over to the other lane. I'm not sure why.
Exit 68 on the right onto Roscoe Boulevard.
I am almost at the off ramp. Let's see how the car behaves. It started to signal on itself, on its own. I'm not doing anything. And this is following the off ramp. And nav on autopilot ended. Very nice. All right, now I'm using nav on autopilot again for the second time, and I think I'm beginning to understand what it does versus earlier this morning when I first tried it. Now, when it gives you that blue indicator up there, it's basically telling you, hey, anticipate lane change according to your route. And then that little message down here that's suggesting lane change. So when you turn on your turn signal, it's going to change into that faster lane accordingly when it's safe, obviously. So I just realized that that Mad Max mode really isn't about changing lanes faster, but it's about the sensitivity of the speed. So let's say that this lane, this car in front of me is slower than the next lane over, and Mad Max is a lot more sensitive to which lane is faster for me to switch to according to my route. So I had this misunderstanding of Mad Max mode, as many people have had before. It is not about changing lanes a lot faster, but it is about the sensitivity of the following speed with a car in front of you, and then it will suggest lane change accordingly, probably a little bit more frequently than the average and the mild sensitivity settings. 2 lanes to get on that interchange, but nav on autopilot is telling me or suggesting that I change to the other lane, even though this lane can also get on that freeway. And I've noticed that when it does that suggestion, even though my turn signal isn't on, it would detect if there's a car next to it, and it will show a solid line. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And now let's see if it's going to follow this fork.
Now take the
and it's actually doing the signaling on its own, and I am not doing any of it because it knows that I need to take this particular interchange. So again, see, it's suggesting. Then I changed to that other lane, and it was turning red because there are cars over in that lane. Now let's see how well it does merging onto this other freeway. I'm going to change lane to the other lane as it's suggesting. And before I got on this interchange, when I had to switch to the lane on the right, there was a car next to me. So I turned on the signal, the line was solid red, and then it slowed down so that I could get behind that car in order to make that lane change. I'm less than a mile away from my exit. There's a fork opening here, and it's not exiting, which is good. And let's see what happens with my exit coming up.
Now take exit 7A on the right. In 500 feet, keep right to Los Angeles Boulevard South.
It didn't. Oh, it's signaling. I didn't touch it. I did not touch it. It started signaling on its own. It's taking this off ramp on its own. And nav on autopilot ended, but I am still on autopilot.
500 feet, turn right onto South Los Angeles Boulevard.
Up to the stop sign, but slowing down significantly, so I'm going to accelerate a little bit more so the car behind me
now turn right onto South Los Angeles
think I'm
Boulevard.
crazy. Overall, I do like this new nav on autopilot feature. I feel that it's taking even more stress off of me when I drive and go on road trips. But on the other hand, one can argue, like my husband did, that this is making you dumber and that people won't know how to drive anymore. Well, in the future, we might have all driverless cars and we might all just be passengers. So I think this is a great addition to the enhanced autopilot option, and it is in beta right now, so I definitely can see a lot more improvements coming along. So keep it up, Tesla. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and subscribe down here, give it a like, share this with your friends, or make comments down below. I love to engage and interact with all of you. Until next time, God bless.